Good morning. It is Sunday morning. It's the 4th. And I don't know, can you see? The sun is rising. It's been a beautiful morning. I'm sitting here having some keto coffee. It's actually really good. It's like, I don't know. And I'm reading through Matthew chapter 2. That's the chapter we're going to talk about today. We started talking about it yesterday. And we're going to finish that up today. I've got to show you something real cute. We have this thing. It's a kitten. He is jumping all over me. Do you see him? Kitty. So he's going to help me today as I drink my keto coffee. Matthew chapter 2 to start this Sunday off. It's a beautiful chapter as we introduced yesterday the idea of what it was for Joseph to listen. And he listened to God initially in when the angel came to him and said, look, take care of Mary. And we're going to see that he listened some more here in chapter 2. The Magi came, and they only knew what they knew. They knew that the king was coming, and the star was the sign. And now we're further on in that journey. And Herod called the Magi secretly. This is at verse 7. It says this: Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time that the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and saying, go and make a careful search for the children or the child. As soon as they find him, report to me so that I may also go and worship. The Magi had a choice, really. And we'll see here, and you'll see if you keep reading, the angel of the Lord even came to the Magi and said, look, don't go back. Magi, assumedly, didn't know, weren't reading the scene, but the Lord spoke to them because of their obedience. God used them. They did what they know so that they would know what to do. And that's where that's sitting there. But so often, this idea of what Herod's doing. And I want to encourage you, in your time that you study and you spend time in the Word, at this time, and I'm going to encourage myself, man, there's zero production value in what we're doing. And maybe it should be better, I don't know. But this context is it needs to be real. Your walk with God, your journey to labor alongside with God, you working out your faith. And now you hear the kitty? Let me clarify what I mean by work out. That doesn't mean you're trying to work your salvation. What that means, it's like going to the gym, right? You go to the gym to work the muscles that you already have. You have that salvation if you've accepted Christ and put him onto baptism. You have that salvation. So go work it out. Go work out. And that's what we're seeing here. And that's a phrase I love, and I heard someone else say it. It's not mine. It says, do what you know and you'll know what to do. And the Magi did. We're going to go and worship. And then they go and worship and they find Jesus. And they bless him. It says, give him frankincense and myrrh and gold. And it's beautiful. As they come to that house, they saw, this is verse 11, they saw the child, his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshiped. They didn't know everything, but they did what they knew. He's the king. Was there things still to learn? Yes. Here's the interesting thing. Where's Herod? He's sitting there. He has all this knowledge at his feet. All this authority. And he's missing it. So, that's what happens. They go and worship. And then an angel of the Lord came to them. That's the end of verse 12. Angel of the Lord came to them and to go a different route. They warned him in a dream, it says. Verse 12, it says, and having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. They did what they knew, and God gave them to know what to do. Now, the angel Lord keeps speaking. We talked about that a second with Joseph. Joseph was following and obeying, and you see that in verse 13. When they had gone, that's the Magi, the angel of the Lord appeared again to Joseph in a dream. Get up, he said, take your child and his mother and escape to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for your child and kill him. How hard is that? We've got some challenges going on in our life, and we all do, right? You do, I do, and in that challenge, it's funny. One of those concerns is my son, and we see that the angel's saying, "Look, you take care of your child, Joseph, and you go protect them, and let God do the fighting." Now, I want you to understand this fight. I want you to see. We won't have time to read all of 2 because this is just a tester or a little bit of a taste for you to go and you to read chapter 2. But what happens next is horrific. And you need to understand this, that this obedience to God does not mean that trials in our life isn't going to come. What happens next is Joseph and Mary and Jesus are fleeing to Egypt. And this is what sin's going to do in people's lives. The sin of fear, even the sin of doubt, the sin of self. Herod's like, I'm done. They didn't do it my way, so I'm going to attack. And that's what he did. It fulfills a prophecy, and this is important. The prophecy is important, but why the prophecy is so important? God knew Jesus would save the world. Before the foundation of the world, God had set that in the plan. This isn't plan B. There was no, it didn't work with Adam and Eve, so now, for God knew this, but let me tell you what he also knew. He knew that for life to be saved, death needed to happen. And for Jesus to even enter into this world, it was going to break it all up. Herod had decided, since I can't attack the one thing I'm afraid of, I'm going to attack everything. Herod gave a decree that for every male child, 2 years or down, which gives us an understanding he took. I don't know. Did he take when the Magi? We don't know exactly how long this is. When the Magi saw the star and maybe added a year, or I don't know, or it took him a while to go find it. You're only talking about 5 miles away from Jerusalem. I don't know. Scripture doesn't make that clear. But he gives this arbitrary time of 2 years to kill every boy in Bethlehem and in the vicinity, which fulfills a prophecy. And why I want you to know that fulfills that prophecy. And that prophecy, you can go see it. It's in 18. It says this: a voice is heard, and that voice was of Ram and I can't read this morning. It's early. Weeping and great mourning, for Rachel weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted because they are no more. Sometimes when God enters into our life, some things have to be changed, killed, set aside. But the point of this in church, and guys, who's ever listening to this, I want you to understand, God is the God of the mountains and the valleys in our life. James, as I've told you already before, but it says, consider it pure joy when you go through trials. And well, how is this joy? Because those children, they're with God. And because God is now on this earth, we get to be with God. So I got 30 seconds. Here's the thought. Don't be afraid of what will happen, but lean into God and listen. Do what you know, and you'll know what to do, and trust in the Lord. Hopefully you're going to church today. Go worship with your family, take communion, spend time with God. We love you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.